Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast. That is, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. I'm Paul Gigot with Bill McKern and Kim Strassel. I want to quote Donald Trump, of course. He could not restrain himself from entering the drone fray, and he put it this way in a True Social post: mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so, Trump said. Let the public know, and now, otherwise shoot them down. So both of you should get out your AR-15s and start firing away, I guess. Well, maybe he means the government should shoot them down. But anyway, Kim, do you think that's helpful?
No, I don't think it's helpful, although he does put his finger on the big question that everybody has. I mean, if you sort through the list of things in your head that this could be, I mean, obviously you could think that there was an alien invasion. It seems unlikely that the aliens have rudimentary enough technology that is just no better than our best drones right now. Yeah. So I think we can probably discount that. I mean, one suggestion is that this could be commercial activity, maybe a company, flight testing some new products. We've had a lot of conversation about drones being able to do deliveries, for instance, and people have been working on making them larger. That seems unlikely too. And so then it gets to this question, could it be the U.S. military trying something? It seems like a weird place to do it when they own, half of the Western America, that they could try this over grounds that are not populated and not cause this. That then leaves the question of foreign actors, which is what is very much on everyone's mind. And the real problem here is that we already have one example in recent history of the federal government not paying attention to a foreign threat over our skies. Obviously, that Chinese spy balloon, which was left to just do its thing. No one had any answers for days and days. They also told us at the time not to worry about that. And so people look at that example and think this is just a repeat. Add to it that there is a general feeling in the country that Joe Biden and his team is checked out, right? I mean, nobody feels a lot of confidence right now that this administration is all over the problems out there. It's more counting down the days until he gets to go full time to the beach. That's part of the problem people are feeling at the moment.
I do think, just to think about the actual policy ramifications of this and the political ramifications, with all the politicians now in the East paying attention, I saw pressers on Fox on Saturday and Sunday with Chris Smith, who's one of the Republican congressmen in New Jersey, and a bunch of local officials, demanding answers. So the politicians clearly think that this is something on the mind of their voters. And when that happens, they're going to pay attention in a way and look and see what they can do from a point of view of legislation on drones. And there are some real issues, I think, some safety issues. One that Kim raised, which is foreign actors who would be surveilling critical infrastructure, for example, energy sources, military arsenals, as the DoD suggested that they've detected some drones over. And the question becomes, what kind of enhanced ability do state and localities need to be able to track these things? Because they're going to proliferate more. Is more registration required? You don't want to put too many rules on, obviously, because then you're going to slow the development of drones, and for very useful commercial purposes, right? Deliveries and how traffic goes in areas. The drones are useful. But what kind of legislation do you think is needed, Bill?
I'm not sure, but as you pointed out, the proliferation of so many people owning drones, it's not just China that we have to worry about collecting electronic signals from, say, our military installations. There are ordinary citizens that have concerns, like just, for example, privacy. Mm-hmm. If my daughters are sunbathing on a rooftop, where no one can see them, and a drone comes over, do they really want that? Can a drone really take pictures of them up there? I think those things are going to have to be sorted out, and the more people that own drones. But right now, I think the two premier questions are, who's running them? There seems to be so many sightings that I don't think it's one group or something. I suspect it's different people operating different drones. Who's doing it? And what are they doing? Are they collecting signals? I mean, that was the thing about Chinese balloon.
Right.
It was first a joke, and then we see, oh, maybe they were collecting intelligence. And that's going to be more important as time goes on. I think what people really have a hard time believing is we spend so much money on defense. We have Elon Musk landing a spaceship, sending it out, and having it land upright within the bars of his tower.
Right.
And yet we can't figure out who's flying a drone over New Jersey. It just something doesn't seem right with that.
Yeah, it is odd. And I mean, if you were just thinking about it, Kim, from the point of view of public safety, if you were somebody who wanted to do mass harm, drone would be a way to do it. Obviously, you could fly them into a public event, a football stadium, for example, and maybe do great harm. I mean, I remember recently in the Middle East, the Hezbollah sent a drone, smashed into the window of Bibi Netanyahu's house, right? So you could use those for that kind of mayhem as well.
Oh, there's a lot you could do. I mean, look, we have a little drone, which is why I know a little bit about them. And they're a great deal of fun for people who are hobbyists. I mean, there's something magnificent about sending a drone up, being able to look down at your house and, you know, your property and just see an aerial view of things, which is really why people got into them in the first place. But as they become more sophisticated and as they're growing larger, and that's happened quite rapidly as well, too. And they have further ranges. Their batteries will last longer before needing to power up so they can go greater distances. This has the potential to be very potent technology for someone in the wrong hands. You were talking to Bill about some possible legislation. I mean,
right.
I think one immediate thing that people are going to have to consider is, as you noted, it's long been prohibited to fly a drone anywhere near FAA airspace because, well, the obvious and really quite terrifying risk of one of them getting in the way of a taking off or landing aircraft. If it were to go into a turbine, it would, you know, bring down an airplane. So it's
right.
a scary thing. But I think we're going to have to think about maybe extending those restricted areas to sensitive infrastructure, around sensitive infrastructure, et cetera. And there might have to be more education for drone flyers as well, too. As you noted, right now, they're all licensed because the government does want to know if one causes a problem, they want to be able to look at the serial number and figure out who bought it, right? Who had it.
Sure.
But some states already, for instance, New York, you have to have a permit to fly a drone in New York. And that requires some bit of training as well, too. So I think that there's some things people are going to have to think about, but kind of do it in a hurry as well. And maybe this incident, that's the upside of it, is that it inspires Congress to take a harder look at some of this, and states.
And some states would want to be able to have the authority, I think, to shoot some of these down as well, which carries its own risks of potential problems. All right. Well, this is an issue with the development of expansion of drones isn't going away. So hopefully there will be no long-term damage to the state of New Jersey, though perhaps to the reputation of New Jersey. Bill, sorry to say, but I'm just kidding.
Personally, I want to say the drones do far less damage to New Jersey than the government does to New Jersey. The government of New Jersey is far more damaging. I'd like a far more limits on the government in Trenton than I do on drones.
Well, as long as New Jersey Transit doesn't get in control of the drones.
What a terrifying idea.
That would be the worst possible outcome for all of this. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for listening.